Boom!
2 is a weapon-less fast racing game.
The story takes place in the 26th century after the World Water War, which is not as innocent as it sounds. Apparently it was quite apocalyptic. And now people go around piloting high-speed anti-gravity ships on magnetic racetracks to compete in the popular interstellar sport known as Solar Redout Racing League.
And there's a summer mode prepared for you for single player, arcade mode and career mode with over 250 events divided into 11 environments like Cairo, Japan or water maps. And there is online multiplayer for up to 12 players, but online only, no split screen this time.
In the single player mode, you play against AI opponents or against time, and if you place well, you earn medals. Those medals allow you to unlock more anti-gravity zooms, up to 12 in total, and you can unlock upgrades for them. There's several dozen different types of upgrades to make it more stable, to make it faster, to make it stay cool so it doesn't overheat. More about overheating in a second, that's very important. As well as 50 different types of color customization to make it look exactly as shiny and as pretty as you like.
And probably the most important thing here, or the feature, is the unique system of using both sticks, left one for maneuvers and right one for pointing your nose up or down and left or right to drifting. This is the same that was in Redout 1, and this is what makes the game unique, because sometimes there's going to be track missing, you're going to be flying for a little bit, so you are going to need to point your nose accordingly. There is not only one boost, but also hyper boost that is charging over time, but it can also overheat, so your engine can explode and your ship with it, because you are going as fast as 800 kilometers per hour. This is the maximum, and sometimes you can even rewind time, so if you crash, you can go back and continue. So it is not as punishing, but still there's opponents and there's a high difficulty really curve, so you might not be first at the beginning.
Definitely not. Yeah. Now, you do have the option to play it in different views, first person and third person, depending on what's easier for you. And you can also adjust the difficulty level, not only between easy, hard, and harder, but you can adjust different specific elements like how extreme the drift is, and to turn on AI assistance for different movements so that it goes a little bit more smoother and that learning curve maybe is a bit less steep.
But the question is, should you
race it?
Race it.
Yeah.
Should you play it?
They'll play it. Yeah, that's the name of the channel. But first, you should know that this game is going to be completely free from the Epic Games Store starting June 13th, and you'll have a week to claim it, add it to your library, and then you keep it forever. You can install it whenever you want some high-speed, brain-scrambling racing. And that is what we do on this channel. We play and review every free game from the Epic Games Store, so you never waste your gaming time ever again.
This game is trying to be better in every way. It is definitely better as it is a bigger game, because 250 tracks is really a lot, even though half of it is reverse, going the same track but in reverse. Visuals are definitely better, but it was not only us who had difficulty of running the game properly. We find out if you move the rendering quality from 100 to 10, it's gonna make it better, but still not as buttery smooth. And this is the game where really you need to have it as fast as possible. Yeah. It was not only for us, we saw several other gamers who had problems as well. So this is one of the things that affects my opinion. It is not the only one. There is no split screen this time. I kind of understand why. Maybe it would not be technically possible now when the game is not well optimized. But the first one had it.
Yeah.
And I don't think the visually is that better. And online multiplayer. If you want to play it, you have to first play single player a little bit. which is annoying if you want to play with friend right away. So actually, I think the sequel is a little bit worse than the first one. Not significantly, but a little bit. So I think no, you don't need to play this game, especially if you have the first one that was also free from Epic. I would rather go back for the first one and play it split screen couch co-op.
I think all that is right, and spoiler alert, I'm going to agree that this is not the one to play. The first one is the one to play for every reason that you said, mainly the optimization. And there are so many games that if there's a little bit of lag, it's okay. It's still playable, it's still enjoyable. But this one is about split-second reactions, and already it's quite difficult. You know, if you get too close to the wall, you start slowing down, and the AI will just disappear down the track. But if you bump into it, it becomes more of a pinball simulator, and you just bounce around.
And
add to that,
if I can add, the tracks, they are really narrow, so you bump really a lot at the beginning before you learn to fly properly.
But add to that high skill demand that then it's lagging, and for a split second you have to anticipate what you do next, and it makes it very difficult to enjoy, in fact. So that's the main factor, which is a pity because there's a lot of interesting ideas here. Similar to the first game, but with some improvements. I think there's a bit more of a story that's not important, but it's kind of intriguing. The cars are prettier, I think.
Definitely.
The environments are prettier. And the controls, I think if it was smooth, it would be really intriguing because you're not only racing on the flat plane, but you have to figure out how to use the vertical space as well, which is a really interesting dynamic. Also the dynamic of being able to overheat your car intentionally for a speed boost, but if you overdo it, the car explodes. All of these elements bring in a very interesting requirement of skill to play the game well. But that's it, just like without really strong optimization and strong performance, all of this becomes frustrating rather than challenging. I think that's the key factor. Now, 2 years after it's been released, it's still rough.
And it seems like developers really wanted to continue supporting the game, but there is still another feature outside of single player and multiplayer, and that is something called Season, and it says coming soon. It says coming soon for more than a year, so it doesn't look like it's coming.
Yeah. So look, you claim it. Maybe it will be upgraded and there will be updates in the future that make it more enjoyable. But for the meantime, as Mikhail said, we already got Redout 1 for free from Epic a couple of years ago. So if you've been subscribed, you didn't miss it. And that's a reason to subscribe now. If you're not yet, you can check out our review for the original Redout right up here. Watch that next.
And we hope to see you next time.
Bye.